Okay, for the first project or kit, what I'm going to do is, since my paint is in the big original containers, I'm just going to use a small container here to make my texture medium. So what you want to do for that, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of the black paint. As you can see, I only did about a spoonful there. There isn't much at all. And then I'm going to mix in some of the baking soda. You want it to be thick because you want to create texture. So get it all mixed up here. And so I want it to be really kind of gloppy and not like smooth and drippy. So put as much in as you think you need for that. So can you see that? The thickness of that? It's pretty thick. Okay, so we're going to take that. We're going to take our brush. And what you're going to do is you're just going to kind of pat it on. You want it to go on chunky. And you could do your whole pot if you want to. Or you can just do a few areas here and there. And when you distress it back, the idea is that you're going to see black underneath your white. And with the texture here, it's going to make it look like it's been painted several times, sat around in the garden for many, many years, got lots of wear and tear, and it's got that old world kind of look to it. So just go ahead and put it on. Do you see how it's going on clumpy? It's not smooth. You don't want it on smooth. So if you wanted to do just like different spots like that, I know it kind of looks like a cow right now, but when you distress it, it's going to look really cute. You could do that. Or you can kind of put it all over your pot so you have black on the whole thing and no terracotta showing through it. All depends on your style and what look you're going for. So be creative and have fun. And don't forget that a little bit of the inside lip of your pot is going to show after you plant something in here. So you want to do just like the rim so that it doesn't look like you painted it. It looks authentic. Okay, so if you choose to do it this way, then after you get the paint everywhere, then go back and do your kind of gloppy parts where you get some texture and peaks. I just want to mention that this paint is VOC free, so you can use this paint in your house around your children and your pets and not have any problems at all. It's perfectly safe, and it only has a few ingredients. It's a very natural, high quality pigmented paint, and so this paint is very versatile and you can do lots of things with it. Okay, so now I have got my stiff peaks on there. You could see it's kind of chunky in spots, and I'm going to let this dry completely. Wash your brush real good because you're going to use the same brush for the white paint and you don't want it to turn gray. So go and wash your brush really good with some mild soap and water, and kind of pat it dry with a paper towel. Okay, my black is all nice and dry, and as you can see the texture in there? That's what we're looking for. Make sure that your brush isn't dripping wet. Like I said, you want to use some paper towels to kind of pat it dry if it's still wet. And now we're just going to put a coat of white over the black. And like I said, make sure that your black is dry or else you're going to make gray right now. And we don't want to make gray because that won't look very good. So I'm putting this on nice and thick. So the step's super easy. You're just going to paint it white everywhere, everywhere that you did the black. And then you're going to let it dry real super good, because the next step we're going to be sanding it. And when you sand it, you don't want the black underneath the chunky part to still have wet underneath of it, or else you're going to get kind of like a little bit of a mess. So let's make sure that it's nice and dry. You could even let it dry overnight if you'd like, or a couple hours should be super sufficient. Use your better judgment. And so I'm just going to go ahead and finish painting this white, and then once it's dry, I'll come back for the next step. Okay, now our textured pot is nice and dry. You want to make sure that it feels good and dry. This is actually a clay-based paint, and so if you feel your pot, it'll feel kind of cold if it's still wet, but it'll feel kind of like normal room temperature once it's dry. And as you can see, I got lots of nice texture on there. It's good and dry now. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to be sanding the pot. So take your little piece of sandpaper, go gentle until you see how much pressure you need in order to expose what you want to expose on here. So we're just going to sand lightly. It's going to pull back through that black and that texture. Now don't go too crazy, because this paint, like I said, is highly textured, and so that black is going to come through really fast. But do you see how I'm getting the texture pulling back through here like that? Now you can go as heavy or as light as you would like with this. And if you want to bring some of the terracotta back through in spots, you can do that. Just go a little deeper all the way through your black. See that? I love that. I think it looks so good. This would be a fun project to do with your kids. You could do this like girlfriend's night, craft night with some wine. Right. Now I'm going to wipe the dust off. And this is what my pot looks like. Super, super cute. I think it looks so good. I love it. And like I said, when you're doing this technique, you can put as much texture as you'd like. You could do, the whole thing could be a big texture. You could just do spots. Like I did a little heavier texture in spots, and so I have like lighter areas and then I have more textured areas. Okay, the next step is we're going to add our little butterfly embellishment. So when you do decoupage, it's a lot easier and looks a lot more cohesive with the piece if you rip the edges of the paper instead of cutting it. You could completely, totally put this on just like this and it would be fine. You could cut the butterfly out with the scissors. I prefer just to rip the edges. So be careful, you don't want to rip your butterfly in half. What I like to do is I just take my thumb and I'll put it over the area I don't want to rip, and then I just kind of pull with the other side. That way I don't accidentally rip off a part I don't want to. So just go ahead and prepare your butterfly however you would like. And if you do accidentally rip your butterfly, don't worry. We're going to kind of glue it on. You could just you could fix it while you're sticking it on. You could fix it by just sticking it back together. So, all right. So there we go. I got my butterfly all ripped out. He's ready to go. Look at your pot and decide where on your pot you want to put him. I think I'm going to put mine right here. It's going to look so cute. So once you're ready, get your liquid patina. That's going to be the kind of clear, runnier liquid. And just take your brush and get a little bit on there. You don't need a ton. And then just kind of put it on the area you want to put your butterfly. And then stick him on there. Now what I like to do, this is tissue paper, so if you stick it on there and then you decide you don't like it there, it's crooked, you can't really pull it up without ripping him to pieces. So take him and stick the middle down first. Make sure that he looks good. Mine's a little high, so see, you could still pull him up. So stick him once you've got him where you like him. Then I just kind of put the middle down and then I start working my way out. And that looks nice and straight, so now I'll just smooth him down. and then take your liquid patina and just go over the top of him, kind of gentle like. You don't want to rip him. Just go over him kind of gentle like, and make sure that he's stuck down really good. And this paint also is a water-based paint, so you don't want to oversaturate any area of your pot because it can pull the paint back up, and you don't want to do that. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna do the whole thing to seal it with this liquid patina. So go ahead and do your whole pot. Give it a nice coat. And if you plan on using your pot for any type of plants or anything with moisture, you're going to want to seal the inside as well, because if not, then the moisture could come through and it could ruin your finish that you just worked so hard on. So I'm going to be sealing my whole thing, including the inside, the bottom, and everything. And then I'm going to let it dry, and then our project is complete, and this is what it looks like. Super cute! If you're doing the Decoupaged Old World Pot kit or project, then what you want to, the first step with that one, you're going to take your pot, you're going to take your white paint and your brush, and you're just going to paint your pot white. So just get some paint on your brush and just paint your whole pot white. And make sure that you paint a little bit of the inside lip, just because a little bit of that always shows when you plant something in your pot. So you want to make sure that you have a good look on there, and it looks authentic and not like you just painted the outside of a pot. So paint the inside rim as well. DIY paint is really great paint. Look at how it's covering in one coat. So go ahead and paint your whole pot, and then you'll want to go and wash out your brush with just water, and you could use a mild soap if you'd like. Just wash it really good until it runs clean, and then pat it dry with some paper towels so you have a nice clean brush for your decoupage. Okay, when your white paint is dry for your Decoupage Old World Pot project, you want to take your decoupage paper and your liquid patina. That's going to be the one that comes in the small jar if you bought the kit. And what we're going to do is we're going to decoupage our paper onto our pot. Now there are lots of different ways that you can do this. I've given you plenty of decoupage paper in the kit where that you can, if you wanted to, just kind of wrap your pot like this, and you can like slit it and fold it over and just put it on just like that if you want that look. And I like to rip it into small pieces and just kind of like place it kind of around. I like the way that looks, and I'm gonna leave my lip white on it. I think that is a really nice look like that. If you wanted, you could cover the whole pot with the flowers, and that would be perfectly fine. So when you're doing decoupage, you don't want to leave sharp edges like this. It just doesn't look very natural. It doesn't lay very flat. And so I like to rip all of those edges off. With the exception in this case, because I'm going to do an edge right here on the corner of my pot. So I'm just going to leave that one on some of the pieces just to make it a little easier for myself. You might want to have a pair of scissors handy just in case you tear a piece and you want to place it in a different direction. You can cut that straight edge, or you can just have kind of like a jagged look on the edge if you'd like. So the paint that you put on your pot is water-based, okay? So you don't want to put too much of the liquid patina on here and over soak it, because the paint can pool up. So keep that in mind when you're doing this. And what you want to do is you just want to get a little bit of the liquid patina on your brush and just kind of brush it onto a spot. Take your decoupage paper and place it over the spot that you just wet and just kind of smooth it down with your finger. See how easy that is? And then just take the next piece and do the same thing. I like to leave a couple of spaces with the white showing, so I'm not going to do mine perfect. I'm not worried about wrinkles because I feel like that just adds texture, and I like texture. You can make this perfectly smooth if you'd like. See how I left the white spot right there? I'm going to do that in several more places as well. This is very forgiving too. So if you make any mistakes or whatever, you can still pull it up. See, it comes right off. And to stick it back down, just put a little bit more and stick it back down. Be careful though, or else it'll rip like I just did. But see, you could just stick it right back down like that. Look at how cute that's looking already. I love that. So what you want to do is just go ahead and just place all of your decoupage pieces how you'd like them on your pot, and then take your decoupage and you want to just paint over the whole thing just like that. Just do a nice layer over the whole thing, and then we'll move on to the next step. I've got all of my paper placed on here, and like I said, I left a couple of spots open like this. And you see how because I tore it up, we've got like a lot of like color variation. Another spot there that I left open. And I really, really like that look. Now, on the edge, on the lip here, I like that to look nice and crisp. So if I have any big pieces sticking out, you might want to push those down back into the other decoupage. That way it doesn't look so abrupt. I don't know if you can see the spot right there. See how that's kind of sticking out? If you just kind of push it back in with your fingernail, then you've got more of a smooth look right there. And then on the bottom, I want to have my bottom look kind of nice and neat, just because that sounds nice to me. So if you have any overlapping, you could just leave it kind of sticking out like that. Just leave it like that, and then I'm going to show you how to take care of that. Make sure it's glued down well to the sides, but on the bottom, you can leave that kind of sticking out. Just like that. Okay, and then let's let it dry, and then we'll come back. Okay, once you're dry, then this is what mine looks like. And like I said, I left some little paper sticking out in some spots, and I'm going to show you what to do with those. So this is where your sandpaper comes in handy. And what you can do is just take your sandpaper, and you want to go in this direction because we're going to kind of cut off that edge. So just lightly go over right at the edge. Just like that. And your piece the sandpaper will just kind of cut it off. If you push harder, then you're going to get a little bit of the pot coming through for distressing. That is optional. If you want to do distressing, you can do that. I like distressing, so I'm going to go in and do a little bit of distressing now. And I'm going to do it on spots that seem like they would naturally get distressed. So around the bottom and the edges that kind of poke out are the most obvious places that that a pot would rub on stuff. If you got lots of brush strokes on your top and you don't like that, you could lightly sand that and sand those down. All right, Now that that's done, we're going to move on to decoupaging our embellishment piece on. And we've got our little 53 here. And I just wanted to mention, this is how much paper that I have left because I tore it and stuck it on there. So I have enough to do a whole nother project, like the same thing. I could do it twice with this amount of paper. So I just wanted to mention that as well. Now, as I mentioned earlier with the decoupage, crisp corners like this will show up. So you want to tear it, or you could cut it closer to the numbers. So look at your pot and decide where on your pot do you want your numbers to be. Which spot looks good to you. And I'm going to prepare mine. Like I said, I'm just going to rip mine. And be careful, don't rip your number. I like to put my thumb over the spot that I don't want to rip. That way it's not gonna rip that area. So I just keep working around and put my thumb over the area that I don't want to rip. So there we go, it's all ripped on the edges. Now just go back in with your liquid patina and your brush. I did clean mine in between. You don't have to. You just don't want it to get dried and all yucky on there. So just take a little bit, find the spot on your piece where you would like your number to be, and then put down your liquid patina, and then just stick your number on there. And this is on tissue paper, so I would be very careful not to stick it completely down and then pull it up to move it. You'll probably rip it. So see how I did? I just kind of got it wet and then I kind of dropped it on there in the middle stuck. If I wanted to now, I could pull it up and move it somewhere else. So when you found the right spot, just go ahead and smooth it down. Just like that. And see how it kind of disappeared on there? The tissue paper really blends in with the background. And then you want to do another coat of decoupage over that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do my whole pot now. So take your decoupage medium and we're going to seal it. And we're just going to do the whole pot with it. And if you plan on putting flowers or anything in here that might have moisture, then you're going to want to seal the inside as well. That way the water doesn't kind of seep through and destroy your nice finish that you've done on your pot here. So go ahead and do the outside and the inside if you're going to use it for a plant, and then let it completely dry, and you are all done. And you've got a cute little sweet pot here, all cute and ready to go in your home. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this craft. And if you're one of the people who bought my craft kit at the Vintage Road Trip and Show, I really appreciate it. If you liked this video, make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any future videos. And if you're local, you can find my paint and products at Eclectic Curio as well as Antique World Mall. And if you're not local, you can find them on dancingdaisydesigns.com, or you can find Sweet Pickins Milk Paint and IOD products on my Etsy shop, Dancing Daisy Shop. So make sure to check those out, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.